Greetings, YouTube. I advocate teaching religious studies in public schools. Not indoctrinating children, not endorsing one particular religion over any others, but teaching children about the religion that they are going to encounter in America. So, they're going to encounter Christians and Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Native Americans, maybe even some pagans and Wiccans. And I think this is part and parcel of a well-rounded education. How can children be expected to deal with the world intelligently if they are not exposed to it during the period when they are developing their views of the world? Some people are going to have a problem with this. I also think of part of a religious studies class that they should be also learning about agnostic and atheist worldviews. Even though I freely admit that I disagree with them. Heck, I disagree with all forms of organized religion of any stripe. But I still think that people should be informed about them. Just as if you were teaching a class on American civics, you need to inform people about the different political parties. The Democrats, Republicans, the Greens, the Tea Party, what have you. Whatever is the most relevant of the day. And, of course, some historical comments about parties of the past. I think we had a moose party at one time in America. I'm not positive. But informing people about something, data, is not necessarily endorsing something. Now, I have personally encountered this problem in the past, as you will well imagine, in discussing controversial hot topics on the internet can get people riled up. In fact, at one point I was having a conversation over a comment thread on some message board, I can't remember which one it was, about the fact that, there are 12-year-olds in America that are having sex with each other. Now, there are. That was my statement. I made no qualifiers. I did not say I endorsed it, supported it, disagreed with it, or anything. I made a simple statement of fact. And then the crap storm hit me. It was really quite stunning. Because admitting that piece of data was perceived by many people as an endorsement of that piece of data. But it wasn't. It was just an admission of a piece of data. That's it. Now, I personally think that, 12-year-olds should probably be properly educated in that kind of thing so they can make decisions for themselves and they can have informed consent. And I think that if they were well educated, they would probably delay till a later time. But we need to make sure that our children are educated in all things that they are going to encounter in the real world. And one of the things they're going to encounter on a daily basis is going to be the religious beliefs of their fellow Americans. And their fellow Americans are not going to be a homogeneous group of believers. They are going to be from all different varieties of faiths. And having a rough working knowledge of them is, in my opinion, very useful. I reviewed not that long ago a book about how to be a good neighbor. It deals with how to a quick reference for religious services if you have to go to a funeral or a wedding or something like that. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Of course, it would probably be something you'd probably want to delay until sophomore or junior year in high school, maybe a more advanced version senior year. And then touches on, what you could do is the major 12 religious beliefs of, the United States or something. There's probably some wonderful demographic poll out there that'll tell you what those are. And maybe dabble in some of the more esoteric ones as well, just to give kids a full understanding of the full range of what is available to the American public as faiths. And I think that this would be very useful. Now, unfortunately, it's going to receive a lot of resistance, and from different people. I can see it receiving resistance from atheists. I can receive a lot of resistance from those people that are supporters of organized religions, such as fundamentalist evangelical Christians. and possibly even some of the Jewish community, particularly if the subject is going to be covering Islam, which it would have to have a well-rounded subject matter. But just because people resist it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. In fact, one of the ways I can gauge that I've done a good job when it comes to presenting an idea to the world is I piss off a lot of people. If I'm pissing off people on the right and the left, I think I've done something correct. So if a course really annoys a lot of different people, find out why. What does the course do? Now, if it's just informing people, just conveying data, then it shouldn't be annoying anyone. But if it is, that says a whole lot about the topic and the community that you're in, which is also a part of education. And I think it's an important part of education. Civil discourse is something that we should be teaching children, especially if they're not receiving that education at home. So a religious studies course, to my mind, should be part of every high school curriculum. I think it would create more well-balanced, well-informed citizens so that they can then go out into the world and engage in the democratic process in the light of informed consent. They can know what's going on, they know what's in their best interest or not in their best interest, and they are being presented with a worldview that makes sense. Things aren't disassociated. They're not just getting their information about other religions from their faith, which could have a skewed, a biased position that would be very unhealthy to civil discourse. So, even though I am just one step away from having the First Amendment tattooed on my body, I fully endorse the idea of religious studies in school, so long as it's done in a completely equitable, even manner, from a secular position, and it's just about informing people of the world around them. Because, the more informed people are, the better they are. Or as G.I. Joe said, knowing is half the battle.